Aimless inanimate matter. Okay, I'm remembering a little bit more of what I wrote. If matter is all there is, or all there was at one time, I don't think it's as simple as that. There wasn't just matter. In fact, according to the theory of the Big Bang, there was energy way back, all energy, and matter is, this is something I've read up a little bit about in the subject of astronomy and astrophysics. When we bear in mind Einstein's most famous equation, E equals mc squared, which is the equivalence of matter and energy, one can be converted to the other. So it would be another way of describing what happened in the very, very early universe was that energy condensed, or not condensed, froze into matter, or matter is frozen energy. At very, very high energy levels, we can have fusion. We know about that. You know, it happens in stars and in nuclear reactors. Fusion and fission. I feel like matter is all there is. Right, I don't think matter is all there is. As far as we know, there is matter and energy, and it exists in space and time. There is also light, electromagnetism basically, which can take the form of heat or radiation or light, whether we can see it or not. Radio waves, TV signals, you name it, microwaves, the infrared microwave background radiation, which is one of the reasons we are pretty sure we understand how the Big Bang worked. I don't know how much or how little you know about that. Anyway, so I don't think that matter is all there is or all there was. There is more to it than that, and that therein lies part of the reason I don't think it's as simple as when you summarize what you think I think you are oversimplifying it, and that is one of the reasons I have come to the conclusion that life has arisen from non-life, or you know, phenomena going on in the physical world, and I think it can be reduced to that ultimately. And I also believe that intelligence has arisen from life. So it's something like a pyramid where the physical universe underlies or underpins life, which underpins intelligence. I'm not certain that that is the case, and maybe later on I can get to the reasons why I'm not certain of that. Oh, I can't remember. See, this is the reason I don't make talking to camera videos without a script. I can write coherent messages, whether it's in the comment section, which has now been made very difficult, or whether it's in PMs, and when I make my videos, most of them, I either heavily edit them, or I do read from a script, or I have notes and I read from them, and then I edit it into something coherent. Maybe I'll edit this a little bit. I will examine your second post in my second post, but I just want to point out that here that the laws of physics are one of the many things that atheists must take for granted. And yes, when I was an atheist, I did just that. I took the laws of physics for granted. Please think about this. If matter is all there ever was, then the laws that precisely govern and purposefully constrain matter must have arisen from matter. How can this be? Okay, I don't... laws of physics are one of the many things that atheists must take for granted. Take for granted, that implies that you know, taking something for granted or taking someone for granted means you don't appreciate them. I don't think that's how I feel about the laws of physics. I think the laws of physics, the fact that we can understand them is pretty amazing. in the same way that learning about the universe is awe-inspiring for me, whether that is on this planet, going for a walk through the hills, or looking down on the clouds from an airplane, or whether that's looking through a telescope at stars that are dozens or hundreds of light years away. All of that stuff is pretty awesome and amazing to me. The natural world, I'm a huge fan of trees. I've worked in forestry for a number of years. I have my own small tree nursery. I don't know how much or little I mentioned about this in other comments. But one thing I'm very keen on is reforestation. I think humans have caused massive damage to the planet by cutting down forest. So I'm very much in favour of replanting forest, and that I'm doing my small bits around this area. Anyway, digressing again. Please think about this. I'm slightly recapping. Please think about this. If matter is all there ever was, then the laws that precisely govern and purposefully constrain matter must have arisen from matter. I don't know if that is true. Must have arisen from matter, because I don't think that matter is all there was. Matter is matter. Energy is energy. Both exist in the universe, and they interact over time in space. So you ask, but how can this be? I don't know if it is as simple as that. Matter is aimless and inanimate. Yes, when you reduce it to its constituent parts, I would agree, but if you look at matter in the form of a molecule, a living or part of a living organism, it's not aimless and inanimate. Back to your message. A purely physical framework that recognizes nothing but matter and energy is utterly... you did mention energy, so okay. A purely physical framework that recognizes nothing but matter and energy is utterly helpless to describe any organization, any rationality, any governance. Yet such organization, rationality, and governance is clearly manifest in the physical laws themselves. Well, yes, we can see that there are patterns. Oh yes, and this is, right, one of the things I put in my previous video was, this is a subject area which I'm not an expert in. I'm not really an expert in anything in particular, but I have a certain amount of knowledge about certain subjects. I was going to recommend a video which was made by a guy called philhellenes, and it is called This Remarkable Thing. And I think it's a very good, coherent presentation of a way in which life can emerge from non-life, given what we know about the physical laws in this universe. I will find the link for that and attach it to this video, and hopefully you get a chance. It's probably a 10 or a 15-minute video. Hopefully you get a chance to have a look at that. I know that video very well. It's one of a number which I have I've converted into an MP3 and listened to dozens of times at my work. So any questions you have about that, or anything that brings up which you'd like to talk about, I'm more than happy to do so. Anyway, back to your message. Therefore, right off the bat, if you claim that the laws of physics incorporate everything, then you have the very tall order of explaining the existence of the laws of physics through strictly natural processes. Okay, this is, to me this seems to be a little bit of a, red herring's the right word, but it's like a chicken and an egg situation. It's almost as if you're insisting that one must precede the other. I don't know if it makes sense to suppose that or to propose that. I would say, why must that be so? Could it not be that, we don't know exactly what happened in the first Planck moment, got a pretty good idea of a lot of what happened right back to that, the very first fraction of a second after the origin of the universe. Therefore, right off the bat, if you claim that the laws of physics incorporate everything, then you have the very tall order of explaining the existence of the laws of physics through strictly natural processes. Again, I don't know why must I need to explain that. There are certain things. I put it in an analogy in a previous message. It seems to me to be beyond the scope of the human mind to explain that. Maybe it isn't, but that's how it seems to me, and it seems like asking a horse to reverse engineer a chariot and build another one from what the horse has learned, apart from the fact the horse has hoofs and no opposable thumbs, which could make it very difficult to slightly smaller brain size than what we have.